Liverpool 4, Shrewsbury 1, Tottenham Hotspur 3, Morecambe 1. A very early scare for Liverpool in their game, but their class shone through. The High Line exposed a little bit at times in the game, but with the big boys back, the Robertsons, the Van Dijks, Konates, Fabinho in the middle, it gave Liverpool that foundation, the ability not to panic, and of course, their class shone through. West Ham United have just gone 2-1 up in their game in injury time as well. Spurs' match was very different from Liverpool's, though. Morecambe scored. Spurs were awful until about the 70th minute. No real quality. They had opportunities, but they were playing a League One side. An excellent free kick from Harry Winks. Very well whipped in. That's what you should do from those angles. Is always aim to score at that far post. If it's slightly short, people can get their heads onto the ball as well. Once they scored that, the resolve of Morecambe fell apart. Goals from Lucas Moura and Harry Kane respectively put them through. But again, it was another very good day for the FA Cup. The game I watched between West Ham and Leeds was end-to-end. And we saw two lower-level teams again come out, have a go at Premier League teams, try to beat them, try to win those football matches, giving it their all. And look, they both have managed to avoid upsets. They both had comebacks. But that's what what we saw today again was what I love about the FA Cup. It's a shame the games are also crammed together. You can't really do much about it. The third round is always so hard to watch because there's so many of these matches that are happening at the same time. And there's been no major shocks as of now. Could there be a shock in the Cup tomorrow night? And Man United actually win a football match? Who knows? Absolutely, who knows what could go on there? It's a mad one to me. Someone here says fair play to Morecambe. Look, I look at the way Swindon, Morecambe, Shrewsbury, Chesterfield all played in their games. Nowhere near winning it in the end result, but they all had moments. They all did themselves proud. They just can walk away with their heads held really high. Held really, really high indeed. That they absolutely can. Terry, as a Shrewsbury Town resident, sorry, I couldn't speak. This will have done wonders for them so they can focus on staying up. Congratulations to Liverpool. And of course, all teams will take some confidence out of this. They'll be proud of themselves. Think about the attackers at Shrewsbury today. They got to go up against Conte, Robertson, Van Dijk. In some respects, losing to them, but going toe-to-toe with one of the best centre-backs in the world, one of the best defences in the world, one of the best teams in the world, with a number of their better players. They had, you look at the team that were on the pitch with substitutions that came on, 5, 6, 7 proper first-team players from Liverpool played in that match. In some respects, losing to them sometimes might have meant a little bit more than playing the under-18s at Anfield. Like, you want to win the game, but if you're playing the under-18s and you beat them, would it have the same feeling to it? I'm not too sure. Really good from a Liverpool point of view to see young Gordon, by the way, get his name on that score sheet as well. But West Ham through, Liverpool through, Tottenham through. Again, the big boys so far have all stayed in this round. Arsenal kick off in just over an hour's time. Man United tomorrow night. It's going to be very interesting indeed. 4-0. Look at this, 4-0 to Aston Villa. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised. Man United are all full. Nobody fancies us to win tomorrow. So no banter if we lose because we're meant to. Thank you very much here to Ben Bailey for becoming an official Academy member of the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for signing up. Terry, don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself saying Shrewsbury. I don't get that, but cool. That doesn't make sense to me, but okay. Gordon might be Salah's replacement. Slow down. I was talking to my brothers last night. And we were saying how, of course, you always celebrate when you beat a team. You celebrate the goals. They are real goals. But slow down. You're playing a League One team at Anfield. I don't think we've learned too much about too many youngsters. What I saw with Gordon today, I saw with Carl Palmer on Friday night. Hall for Chelsea yesterday. There's talent there. There is ability there. But don't put that pressure on him. Don't put that pressure on him at all. Don't do it. Terry Firmino will never score 40 goals per season. He's so elegant, even the way he walks. By the way, I'm 100% into the FA Cup. We must try to win it. Look, a team like Liverpool, the way I look at it as Liverpool Football Club, you've got the second most league titles, but you're only a couple behind Man United. The most Premier League titles. Like, aim over the next however many years. I mean, imagine having all three. You're undisputed kings of the country. If you have the most FA Cups, the most league titles, the most Champions Leagues. Those are the kind of things I want my club to have. Like, I would love on the day, hopefully I'm an old man, I'm on my deathbed, and that's what we see. You know, I can later and go, we've got the most FA Cups, the most Premier Leagues, the most Champions Leagues. Very unlikely to catch Liverpool's Champions League haul, but that's what I'd love. And you want your team to strive for that. Of course you do. True Gooner TV here says, I don't even want to hear any chat about Dele Alli or Ndombele ever again. Those two can't even call themselves footballers after that, let alone good footballers. May I hear you? They were atrocious. They were so poor, the two of them. And they should be embarrassed. You know, whenever if you're at home, especially, you're playing a League One team, to not, you can always concede a goal. But the performance until Lucas Moura, Harry Kane, and Skip came on, and it wasn't only that they were able to bring on an abundance of quality. It was the fact that they brought on fresh legs to boot. It's the only reason Tottenham won the game. If there was no subs, I know this is like I'm saying there is. So why are you saying it's Harry? But if that 11 would have stayed on the pitch, Tottenham would have been out. And look, Antonio Conte has made Tottenham a better team, especially in the Champions League when his main players are on the field. Son's now out. A couple more injuries. You know, if Skip picks up an injury and if Kane picks up an injury, Spurs are in trouble. That board needs to go out first thing tomorrow morning and back Antonio Conte and give him some money, bring him in some better players, because today, Ndombele and Dele Alli look League One level. They really, really did. The regression in Dele Alli is a madness, and I'm so intrigued to learn the story as to why. Highly talented. To first 2 to 3 years at Spurs in the Prem, looked like he could go on. He got to 50 Premier League goals, and a lot of them excellent goals, great vision, brilliant movement, positional sense. He got to 50 goals quicker than Frank Lampard. He set the foundation, and then he went backwards. I'm going to hazard a guess here. My view is, man got too big for his boots. My belief is he stopped working hard in training. I believe he stopped fighting every day to get better. I believe he hit a certain point and went, I've made it. Kept himself in shape, kept fit for games, but stopped pushing himself to that next level. And whenever you stand still, you go backwards because people leave you behind. The game leaves you behind. Arsenal will beat Liverpool with this lineup. No, listen, I'm very intrigued to see the Liverpool play with this type of team in Premier League games in the League Cup. This is what Liverpool fans were worried about. And of course, they got a fair amount back today. But listen, little old Shrewsbury had opportunities today. And, you know, marginal offside, then nearly went 2-1 up. You know, there's a few, listen, that's why it was a good game in the first half. Second half, you know, they made a few substitutions as well. Liverpool were never in any doubt at that point, but there we go. Do me a favor, people. Smash the like button. The Dom Hussim is coming on in a moment with me. Sarim says, top Spur. What's that? Listen, it was awful today. It was awful. Liverpool's academy recruiting is trash. Not one good enough, according to Michael Ramsey. Liverpool will always have to go into the transfer market, is what Michael Ramsey's got to say here. Terry, I was embarrassed by those players, is what Josh Smith, who's a Spurs fan, has got to say. Quite a few people echoing that. Arsenal haven't stopped crying about the postponement. What's wrong with these people? Anyway, as a United fan, are you even excited to watch tomorrow? No. I have zero excitement for Man United game. We are getting beat. I actually think we're going to get pammed as well. Scoreline 2 or 3. We're going to get outplayed, outrun, outworked, outmaneuvered. If we manage to even just perform better than Villa tomorrow, I will be a very surprised man. Remember, we're live, full watch along on the Football Terrace and Match Reaction Show from the studio tomorrow. We are back in action. Very much looking forward to it. I'm going to bring the Don out in a minute. Ram's coming on soon as well. Yeah, I did see I knew a few gooners would complain about the the lineup. Look, I'll put it down to this. Liverpool made an application and their application was successful. Whether you think they doctored results or they shut the training ground down prematurely, whatever your theory, they put in an application and the EFL, the Premier League, the FA, and I think UEFA all agreed to postpone it. All agreed to postpone it. So they've done nothing wrong. My view is this, though, and this is not a dig at Liverpool. I think the EFL looks at it like this. We need to do whatever we can. If the EFL would have taken the same approach the FA Cup did this, the FA Cup essentially said, if you have to play your under-15s, you play your under-15s. You are fielding a team. If the EFL had done that, Liverpool would have been in a position where it would have been a completely uncompetitive team. Arsenal walk away 3-4, 5-0 winners potentially. And then the second legs are right off as well, because it's very unlikely that the Liverpool team without Salah and Mane is going to be able to win 5, 6, 7-0 to counteract it. And the semi-finals are right off. So I think the EFL looked at it and said, we need to try and keep this as competitive as possible. The applications come in. We're happy with it. We don't really want to move it, but we will. I think that's kind of what it is. And, Liverpool put their application in and it was successful. You can't blame Liverpool for that. It's as simple as that. Terry Grizz explained its FA Cup rules are different. No, I understand they're different, but I'm telling you now that the FA Cup would have made you play this weekend with your under-15s. If it was the third round of the League Cup, in amongst league group games of the Champions League and everything else, my fervent belief is that it wouldn't have been postponed. If this was the FA Cup semi-final weekend and there was a circumstance like that, they'd postpone it. These competitions, they're not thinking of Liverpool. They're not thinking of Arsenal. They are thinking about the TV revenue and money. If it was announced that Liverpool were going to have to play a semi-final team against Arsenal and it was kids, do you know what that would do to the TV figures? The neutral isn't going to watch it. They're going to go, ugh. It's one of the reasons why they don't put like these minnows versus Liverpool, for instance, on TV. They put a few on, but not many this weekend. Why? Because they're not competitive games. People tune in for the first little bit until the big boy scores 2 or 3 goals and everybody switches off. So, listen, Liverpool have done nothing wrong. I know the rules are different and all that. I don't care about any of that. No rules were broken. I'm not suggesting they were. But I'm telling you now, they would not have sanctioned it if it was the second or the third round. They'd have gone, play whatever. It's because it's a semi-final. And I understand it. I absolutely understand it. And I knew we'd see Arsenal fans upset about it today, but listen, Arsenal might need to pull on that thread themselves in a month, few weeks anyway. We'll see what happens. And then we'll see that the tables turn. I love it. Listen, Ram and the Don are here with me now to come on and have their say. Interesting days worth of match reactions. Let's get these boys on. Hit that like and share button. Let's do this. How you doing, boys? You good?
Yeah, very good, very good.
A little bit of a scare early on in that game. A little bit.
Nah. Even though we conceded, I still were confident we're going to get something out of this game. So it was never in doubt.
I think we were too good for them. Too good for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you should be. It was an interesting one. Do you know, the only thing I looked at in the game, if as a Liverpool fan, I'd be like, we need to work on that, is even they at times are able to exploit the high line a little bit. Like, that was the only thing where I look at it and go, there's a little bit of a concern, not in the game itself, but in the wider look. But yeah, far too much for them, really. Any standouts? Anyone impress you? Did you get much stick online, Dom Hussein, when the team come out? Like, what's going on?
Look, first of all, I just want to start off by saying to all the Arsenal fans, cry more. We have rigged it. We do what we want. We are royalty. Keep crying. You can cry as much as you want. I couldn't care less. We are so scared of Arteta ball because we beat them 4-1, 4-0, 5-1, 5-0, 3-1, 3-0. Arsenal, if you look at aggregate score between Liverpool and Arsenal in the last 3-4 years, it's probably like 18-2. So I don't know what scared you're referring to, but it is what it is. Now, just moving on to today's game, I had to get that in because the Arsenal fans were just winding me up. Keep crying. Genuinely, we don't care. Keep crying. We won today and we're going to win on Thursday. Anyway, just on today's game, the problem is I'm a very fair, honest fan, and everyone knows this. I'll be real with you. The Liverpool Academy is not a good academy, like compared to the other big boys that we're competing with. I think United have a better academy. I think City have a better academy. I think Chelsea have a better academy. I think Arsenal have a better academy. I think our academy players, like you see the players that were on the pitch today, bar Cade Gordon, because I think Cade Gordon has something about him.
He's not from our academy.
Listen, the rest of them, if they were to get sold tomorrow, they would probably get sold to Shrewsbury. They'd get sold to that level of team. They wouldn't get sold to a Norwich, to a Crystal Palace, or etc. And I think that's the issue. Like our academy players, I don't think our academy is as strong as other academies. Our academy will produce one generational talent every 10 years, like the likes of a Trent, the likes of a Gerrard before that, etc. But like, but consistently, oh Lord, but consistently giving us even squad options, I don't think we have that. But today's game, the one impressive youngster was Kate Gordon. Rest of them, just mediocre. Didn't really see anything about them, if I'm being completely honest. Defensively, though, the goal conceded, I think the right back, we have Connor Bradley. Going forward, he's all right, to be honest. He's not that bad. But defensively, I think he needs to learn how to close down properly. Konate, very lazy for that first goal, because he could have easily cleared that out, tackled it out. And Kelleher should have saved it. But after that, obviously, the response was brilliant. Goal from Kate Gordon. The Shrewsbury defender, like, that was just so idiotic. Like, he decided to play volleyball suddenly, got a penalty. Fabinho scored it. And obviously, the second half, Firmino's back heel, brilliant. And Fabinho brace. Fabinho scoring a brace.
That was a bit that was annoying for me. Like, I'm not watching it looking at Liverpool and Spurs and whoever else wanting an upset, because I don't even want it because I want to banter a rival. I actually want an upset because for me it's what I watch. That's why I sit here, and it's you can now because of the way streaming works, but it's like I sit here watching so many of these third round, fourth round games because I'm so desperate for an upset, because that's the beauty
magic of the FA Cup.
Well, it's like Morecambe. I was listening to the commentators and then I started researching it. If they would have beaten Tottenham today in their club's 109-year history, that would have been the biggest result in their club's history. And for me, what I love about that is it's for those fans. Like, we're all... Look, I don't support a local team at all. I support a team from Manchester. Like, Ram supports a team from Liverpool. Alan, I don't quite know where you're from. I know where you live now, but it's sort of like, I don't know if you're from North London. And even when people do live in the local vicinity, I've got friends that are West Ham fans, but they're from Southend. They still chose the big club near them, near-ish to them, rather than Southend or Canvey Island down the road. I've always got this tremendous respect for people that support a team that's local to them, that may only be 5 miles away from a giant club, but they support that local team that's more likely than not never winning an FA Cup, never going to be in the Premier League, and therefore will never, ever even smell European football. And they make that decision. They fall in love with that club. And it isn't about winning for them. It's about local pride. So I always want the upsets purely for those individual people. It's just so that, like, there might be an old man in the stadium today in London who's been a Morecambe fan for 70 years, most of their club's history. I'd love for that to have happened for them. Does that make sense? And just them scoring a goal and Shrewsbury scoring a goal, I think is enough. You saw the way, like, what's their names? City were 4-0 up and Swindon scored. They celebrate like they won. I love that. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's because without the pyramid, that's what makes English football so special, is that pyramid and the way it all kind of feeds up. Alan, from your point of view, a game of, well, 3/3 really. The first 2/3 of the game, you were atrocious.
I know. It goes to show just how bad our second string team is. For me, this just shows that we need to get as much Deadwood out. I mean, Lo Celso and Dele between them was 100 million. Dele Alli just 2 seasons ago was considered to be a £100 million player. All 3 of them can walk out that door tomorrow. I wouldn't even bat an eyelid. That's how bad they are. Sessegnon and Gill, I think you can get a player out of them, so I would keep them. Rodon, Tanganga, Doherty, all of them are just as bad. Although Harry Winks scored a decent goal, he can go. It just shows how far we have dropped from where we were under Poch. But yeah, it's just, and I'm getting frustrated that the person we're linked to is Adama Traore, when it's quite clear we need quality. No, it's quite clear we need quality in the middle. It's quite clear that we need absolute quality in that midfield to control the game and to, create openings, which our team can't do at the moment in time. Yeah, for me, there's a lot of work to be done, and they do. I agree with when I was listening to what you were saying beforehand. They need to just back Conte, just give them the money to bring in quality players now. Because if we don't, we're not going to get top 4 just because we can't rely on anyone to come in. With Son out as well, you've already got Lucas and Kane up front who can create chances. Because at the moment, I think we've scored only like 23 goals in the Premier League this season. Shocking, absolutely shocking. So where we are in the league, by miracle at this moment in time. So I just hope that this miracle can keep going and they actually back him to. But yeah, we'll take the win. But it's absolutely abysmal. The most of the second string team that we have, absolutely abysmal.
Yeah, you are. And look, when you play your first team in the Prem, you've been pretty good in most of those games and you've won matches. It's once you scrape past the Moras, the Kanes, like Oliver Skip, and you still need better than some of them, in my opinion. Mora's good, but there's a level above him that I think you can go to, and just keep looking at the facial expressions of Antonio Conte. And I took one of the screenshots we got from Getty Images for our thumbnail today. Again, you can just see it in his face. He's kind of, look what I'm working with. Like, this is, it's awful to see. But look, you're through.
Another thing that I can't quite understand is that basically in the summer, one of our main striker is wanting to go, and they've got all that problem, and they don't sign the second striker. What are we expecting to happen this season if you've got a striker not performing, we don't buy a second striker, and we're not even looking to buy a second striker in January? Absolutely pathetic. It's no coincidence that since we lost Dele and Eriksen, that midfield's gone to pot. It's just no coincidence, because you take that level of class out of the team, of course it's going to go downhill, because you've got players there that aren't it.
No, I totally agree with you. I really do. And some of those guys, it all comes. We were talking about this last night on Sam's channel. A lot of it's effort. When I watch Dele, like, he clearly is a better footballer than everybody in the Morecambe team. He clearly is, right? We know he is, technical ability and everything. But it's just like, he didn't want to fight like they did. He didn't want to get involved enough, and it's the work rate. And when you play for Antonio Conte, there's no getting away from it. And Dele Alli, I feel like you mentioned Traore. I bet Wolves feel like this. You guys should have sold. Man United made an inquiry about 3.5, 4, it might be nearly 5 years ago now, for Dele Alli. There was a big inquiry, and I think Man United were willing to pay about 65, 70 million. And you said, no, it has to be over 85. Like, Spurs must look back at that now and go, why did we not just take the money? Because you've ended up with a player now who's almost worth nothing. Like, honestly, Terry, I don't know who was going to pay more than 15, 20 million pound for him. No one.
No. You talked about his work ethic, like, we've seen this on the documentary, or where Jose Mourinho pointed it out, saying you got all the talent, or your work rate and your desire is, I don't want to say it, but
to go into this comment. I can tell already.
But it's like what you said, like, Dele Alli, he doesn't have the fire anymore. Like, everyone can see he doesn't really care anymore, in a sense. And it's a bit annoying, because you see a guy with so much talent and he's just wasting it, just not doing anything on the pitch, not doing anything in training. And
it's that attitude as well, isn't it? And not applying himself. It's all them things. He's believed he's hype at a young age, and now he's a shadow of his former self. I don't think he'll get back to anywhere near he was. I think he's peaked way too early. And that's why I think they should just get rid of him.
Yeah, it's a real interesting one. Just quickly on the Arsenal game. So Arsenal have gone with Leno in goal, Ben White holding, Tavares, Charlie Patino, the young lad that scored, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Nketiah, Cedric Suarez, and Lokonga. The bench has
strong team.
No Smith Rowe at all today. He's not on the bench. The bench has got Ramsdale on the bench, Kieran Tierney, Chambers, Mari, Lacazette, Kolasinac, and I don't know who this guy is. Salah, Edin, Mohand, I think it might be pronounced. But yes, I mean, they've gone for a strong team with a little bit of road. Like, it isn't their strongest team, their Arsenal, clearly saving their players for the big games.
It's still a very strong team.
It is a strong team, but obviously clearly saving their best team to play Liverpool midweek. I wanted to ask you about your team. How many more players from today, how many more first teamers? Obviously, Firmino and Jota are likely to start that game, from the lineup. But is there anybody else to come back into this side, guys? Because when I was looking at it today, obviously Trent was missing. We understand he's out with CV. But when do you play? Is it Wednesday?
Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
So who are you expecting back by then? Because if today's team was to play Arsenal, do you think you could beat Arsenal with this team?
Nope.
Absolutely not. No. If today's team started against Arsenal, and the game next week is at Anfield as well. So for all the Arsenal fans for all the Arsenal fans crying, this has actually turned out for your advantage, because the second leg is at the Emirates. So cry less. This Thursday, I think Klopp, here's the thing. Klopp, like me, and I would say like Ram, like most Liverpool fans, doesn't really care about the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, etc. However, now that you're in a semi-final, you must care. Because now it's not round 3, round 4, blah, blah, blah. This is the semi-final. So I want him to play a serious team. And I think returning from this team will be all the serious players. Firmino, I expect to play. Minamino's going to play. Trent, by the way, Terry, the COVID situation happened to him post the Chelsea game. So he could make the full recovery by Arsenal. Hopefully he does. And if he does play, if he is available, then I expect a full strength team. I think like the likes of Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Konate, Matip, whoever it is. Robertson we saw today. Obviously, Tsimikas and Robertson I think are that far apart anyway.
Robertson might not play because of that challenge that he got. It don't look good. It was
Yeah, I saw that at the end. But
I'm just trying to ascertain.
Even like Terry, even like Fabinho in midfield, everyone. I'm not expecting Tyler Morton, Curtis Jones, blah blah. He might rotate a little bit, but it'll be 100% a serious team as it should be because it's
Curtis Jones will be in the rotation. But
I'm just intrigued to know because what we're not fully aware of is exactly who's out with CV and who's out with injuries, because there's been this whole conversation about this there being like a mashup of the two things and how many are out with it and whatever else. So it's certainly going to be interesting, especially if you win, because if you win, you know there's going to be a big like that. And that's only the first leg, but there is going to be an absolute kickoff from Arsenal fans.
Let them cry, man. Let them cry. That's all they do. They cry. That is Arsenal. With their tinfoil hats.
Bro,
and everything.
Ram, Terry explained it. People don't understand. Can you get your head around the fact that this is a semi-final? Sky Sport or whoever was going to broadcast that game, I forgot who. I think it was Sky or BT or whatever it is. ITV, I do not know. But they were set to make £30 million from that game alone. £30 million. If Liverpool lined up with Balagizi, Curtis Jones, I don't know who, Owen Beck, then that immediately that reduces by so much. So it's 100% a money thing. It's not Liverpool's fault. It's not Arsenal's fault. It's just a money thing. If Terry said it perfectly. If this was the 3rd round or the 4th round, it wouldn't have been postponed. But because it's a semi-final, it is postponed. So just deal with it now. Also, Arsenal Football Club, you have no other competition. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League. That's all you play. We have Champions League football. So, it's not like we just get it out of your head. This whole conspiracy you're living. Liverpool were afraid of Arteta ball. So they had to postpone the game. We are so scared of Arteta because we've only beaten him 4-1, 3-1, 4-0, 3-0. Like I am actually so scared of Arsenal. I am more scared of playing Norwich than playing Arsenal at Anfield specifically. So just stop with the stupid agendas. Like honestly, bro, like I've never, ever since 13-14, I have never been once afraid of Arsenal Football Club. Not one single time. Not one single time. And I stand by it. And we will beat you this Thursday at Anfield, and it'll be another embarrassing scoreline of 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. And then you're going to come in here and go like, oh, they postponed the game because they were afraid of Arteta. Shut the fuck up. Like, honestly, it's
the Arsenal way, though, isn't it? When they win, they're the best team. As soon as something goes wrong or they lose, it's referees, conspiracies, VAR. Oh,
taking the words
such a victim mentality. So that's why for me they're not a big club anymore. They've fallen down from what they once were. They always look for excuses. They always look for excuses.
Go on, Adam.
They are like they're Chihuahua FC. They think they're a big dog, but they're not really a big dog. Like you saw with Arteta against Klopp. Klopp put him in his place. The fans put him in his place. They are a small dog club. Small dog FC, as I like to say. Small dog FC.
It's interesting because I got a DM from an Arsenal fan the other day. It was telling me he likes certain things on the channel, but thinks it's really anti-Arsenal. And I said to him, well, if you like in this moment when we are speaking Arsenal because of the team Liverpool played in their game that we're reviewing and how much of that we're playing in the next match. It's very reasonable to bring up Arsenal. But that's the point of a rival channel. Like if I talk about Arsenal to Liverpool fans in the contemporary sense of what's going on this week and Tottenham fans in general, what do Arsenal fans expect? The same as every Arsenal fan on here, when we ask them about Tottenham, generally rips into them. Why? Because that's what you're meant to do, bruv. Like it's like AFTV are massively anti-Tottenham. I don't think anyone's aware of that. They don't like Tottenham very much over there, but we get all types on. Love it. What does he say here? Love that, Alan. Go at 'em. We've got a question here. We had a super chat question that come in. first of all, first one here says if you made that play, if they were made to play the first leg, that might have been the final nail in the coffin for the League Cup. This is true. And listen, I know that Grizz Khan and some Liverpool fans went down the angle of when I asked the questions and they came straight out with like the official paragraph that the EFL put out. That was their response to everything. And I'm like, I don't like that sort of like weird communist-y sort of approach. It's like, I'm trying to have a conversation, like people I respect, like let's talk about it. But listen, I don't care about the rules, the laws, whatever. These rules and laws get bended depending upon the circumstance. And by the way, if the boot was on the other foot, Arsenal would have wanted the game postponed, and the EFL would have done it as well, because it's where and how things are. You know, you've seen, you know, the AFCON. The reason why they're not postponing games and they're making their teams play with the bare minimum if they can't field a side because of any outbreaks is there's nowhere else to move the games to. So it's either you play the game or the game is forfeited. You've got no other choice. And the EFL were always going to move it for the competitive nature of it. And, you know, if Arsenal find themselves or Man United find themselves in an FA Cup semi-final, but then they have an outbreak, the world may not be in the same circumstance by then, you know, but if they do, you will quite literally see that FA Cup tie moved, because at that stage of a competition, the sponsors, the money, the television views, all of this plays a big part. And the clubs can't moan about it because it's that money that makes them more money than fans ever will in terms of match day fans and whatever. So it is what it is. It is a good question. This is to Hussam. Who's better talent-wise as a collective pair, Saka and Smith Rowe or Trent and Curtis?
I saw this earlier. Big up to you as well, Mr. Dare. I say Drift. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm actually gonna give a very unbiased answer. I'm gonna be real. If you are putting Trent with anyone else, the other side better be Foden, because that is the only youngster that comes close to him in the league, in my opinion. I think Trent and Foden are levels above. They are the elite youngsters of the Premier League. And when I mean elite, I mean the elite, the upper echelon of youngsters. They've both proven it at the top level. They've both been doing it for 3-4 years. You would have no one here would have a problem with me calling Foden world class or Trent world class. They're both very brilliant footballers. So the answer is always going to be Trent and Curtis. As much as I love ESR and Saka, I do, and I would have them at Liverpool, but with Trent there, it's impossible.
Like your comment on the academy is sort of correct and wrong at the same time. I think it's a lot better than it was like 10 or 15 years ago, but we're still not at the level of City and Chelsea yet. City and Chelsea, their academies are just above, beyond.
Ram, if we were having, you see the team we saw today, would you say the youngsters we saw 10 years ago, like the likes of Anthony Morgan and Samed Yessel and blah, blah, all these youngsters, are they much worse than Dixon Bonner and Cade Gordon and blah, blah? Are they much? Yeah. I don't think they are.
Yeah, I think they are.
I don't think they are. I think our academy needs loads of work. And as much as I criticize Curtis Jones and I don't say anything special in him, we need to produce more Curtis Joneses. We need to produce more players who could come into the squad and at least play 6 games, 7 games.
That's where I would disagree. Let me just tell you this as a neutral, relative neutral. What I saw when I first started seeing Trent play in terms of his overall ability was next level. It's like, wow, this guy is very good. I like Curtis Jones. You can see he could be a Premier League player. I don't kind of agree with this. I have seen kind of posts of like next Gerrard type stuff. He's nowhere near that standard.
No, absolutely not.
He's nowhere near that standard. In terms of all your other youngsters that I've seen come onto the football pitch, Harvey Elliott is the only one who, for me, when I see him touch and move with the ball, stands out, and I go, he's a Premier League football player. I'm still not too, because his little rise was cut so short so quickly. I don't know about what level, but they're the only 3 that I look at. They go, yeah, they're Prem players, you know. And I think that's what stands out. You see it generally in 3 or 4 games whether someone's got the ability to play in the Premier League or play at the highest level. But when you look at that as a like question around those 2, this is what's mad. Trent Alexander-Arnold is absolutely brilliant. Curtis Jones, I think, is a good level player. Smith Rowe and Saka, though, are both... They're both sensational. So it's like, let's say Trent is 9 out of 10. I'm going to give Curtis... No one's 10 out of 10 as a kid. And he's not even a kid anymore. He's 23. But like let's give him a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give, on that scale, I'm going to give Curtis Jones 6.
Yeah.
But I look at Saka and Smith Rowe talent-wise, and I'm giving them both an 8.
Nah.
So I'm waiting. I'm saying 16 out of 20 versus 15 out of 20. Actually, no, I'm not.
But you have one guy who tips the scale so much to the other side. Like I see what you're saying because it's a double pairing. You make a completely valid point. But because it's strength, because of what he offers on the football pitch that no other right back offers on earth, it's because you could find the Saka and a Smith Rowe elsewhere. Like if we were to sit here and intensively and extensively watch
if everyone's available, I can go and get Reece James. I can go and get Cancelo. I can go and get Lamptey. They can match what.
Terry, are we really gonna do this? Terry, are we really gonna do this? You know what? Forget goals and assists. Terry, what he offers to the football pitch is next level shit. Picking up pockets, the passes, switching play, interchanging with the winger, all these stuff. He's next level. To anyone else. To anyone else, Cancelo included, by the way. And if you want to run the agenda, Mr. Terry, Cancelo is the absolute definition of cannot defend is Joao Cancelo. Because we cannot sit here. We're being real. He's the definition of it.
Alan, what are you saying to that question? By the way, it's a great super chat question. If you want to get them in on super chats as well, if you do want to guess the Football Terrace secret phrase, the competition is still open. We have given out a clue already. The clue is that it doesn't. You don't always see it from the beginning, so that's the clue. Guess the secret phrase. But Alan, who would you pick of the two? Try and forget their allegiances.
Yeah,
you can take Smith Rowe and Saka as a pair, or Trent and Curtis Jones as a pair. Who are you taking?
So for me, I would agree with your Liverpool, like the ratings I'd give them out of 10. So Trent and Curtis, but with the Arsenal pair, the better person for me out of the two is Smith Rowe. I think he's been better this season, but he's not been starting from recently. I don't know why. It's not due to injury and all that. There's a reason why he's not starting, because Odegaard's outshining him. So he's not, for me, I think Odegaard's doing really well. For me, Saka is come good now, but he has areas of inconsistency where he goes quiet. So I agree with what Lee Gunner says. He didn't show up until a few games ago where he started doing really well. So individually, I would take, if I could have one from each, I'd take Smith Rowe, I'd take Trent. But if I was to go as a pairing, I'd edge slightly to Liverpool just because of that reason. But that's where I'd go.
Well, I tell you what. The only thing I believe the academy can do, I think a lot of players that we're going to get are going to be a lot better, is because we sort of in the last 20 years, we sort of neglected the academy, because I think in the period of the 90s when we brought in like Owen, Gerrard, Carragher, these players, we thought, the academy's great. We're going to produce even more players. And we didn't really put any focus on the academy until Klopp came in and said, let's integrate everything together. Let's put a different structure into the academy. And I think maybe not now, but in the next couple of years, the academy players, we're going to see a lot more better players.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting as well, though? It's hard for academies. Like Man United's academy is doing okay. The problem you've got is you've got the likes of Chelsea and Man City as an example, who the money they throw at their academy compared to the rest of us is night and day. So they take a lot of talent in. And then what you've got on top of that is the academies at places like Southampton, Brighton, to name a few, where I look at I've got children that maybe all want to play football. There's a part of me that's like, if I had the choice between my kid being in the Man United academy or the Southampton academy, Southampton might be a better option, because there is a much clearer pathway through to getting first team football. You know, they develop their children, their kids to be very, very good as well. You know, you've got, West Ham's academy is very good. So I think it's hard because there's only a certain amount of talent, and you're all fighting for it and whatever else. But there we go.
I mean, Southampton's the Ajax of England, isn't it?
Well,
they produced so much talent over the even the last 20 years. Gareth Bale, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Theo Walcott,
they produced a lot of great players.
They haven't for some time.
Alan Shearer, you could put in there.
I don't think for some time. I think that period's gone.
Someone put a comment in here, and I can't find it now, but on Cancelo. One thing I would say about Cancelo is listen, he's a lot older than Trent and a lot older than all those guys, so he should be better. He can play left and right back, though. Do you think if Trent had to play 20 games on the bounce as left back? No, we're talking overall footballer here. That's a question, yes or no? Or maybe you got some detail. If Trent was made because you had no players fit, could he play 20 games on the bounce in the Prem and dominate the left-hand side like he does the right-hand side?
Yeah, I think he could do a job.
Very simple.
Do a job or dominate?
Yes.
That's, by the way, that's why I still rate Dennis Irwin as one of the greatest fullbacks ever in the Premier League, because everyone always calls him a left back, but he was right-footed, but he played for 10 years as left back and won a treble. Like, that's really hard to do. Obviously, the fullback role was very different.
Philip Lahm as well.
Yeah.
Philip Lahm, yeah, like
Terry, I see what you're saying. However,
I'm with Dennis Irwin posters, bro. Do you know what I'm saying?
Listen. Relax on the Dennis Irwin thing. I'm gonna be real with you. I have seen Trent switch it to his left foot, play a 40-yard pass into the feet of Sadio Mane on the counter-attack, on the absolute spot of his feet. So would he be able to dominate? Absolutely. Right back, right wing back, left wing back. He would dominate easily. This is Terry, I know it's hard because it's a Liverpool player. I understand. I myself sometimes.
I'm asking a question. I'm only asking the question because I've never seen.
Terry, I know. Even me myself, I find it hard to give Greenwood credit, but sometimes you have to look at the talent you're watching.
I do hear that. We've got a comment.
Greenwood as a finisher, Terry, left foot, right foot. It's the same with Trent, left foot, right foot, both.
But we've seen him do that. I've not seen Trent play as left back. That's the only caveat. Is
only times we've seen him play left back is within a game.
Guys, let me just do this super chat. Sorry, it's funny. A few years ago, people were angry when big teams played youngsters in the League Cup, disrespect the cup, etc. Now everyone demands Liverpool play the kids. We have another super chat that's come through here. Where's it gone? It's gone. There it is. It says, is the phrase extra time goal? The phrase isn't extra time goal, but thank you for having a guess. Trent is talented, but I need to see him in a different formation and team to see his impact. I need to see him for England. That's also a fair point if people are talking about, again, Liverpool fans won't have it, and nor more should they. But there is an element of, I want to see, if I want to see Trent play for England regularly, because he doesn't get picked. There's always going to be, for some people with their agendas, that but we don't. Like, if he was doing for England what he does for Liverpool, there'd be no kind of arguments. But people are always going to have an argument. When there's a question mark, there's always an argument. Do you get what I mean?
For me, the thing with Trent,
James, though, he'll start Walker regardless, Southgate. So it's just like Trent could have this. He's having an incredible season this season. He could end the season, for example, 16 assists, break Guinness World Record for defenders, assists and stuff, and he'd still start Walker, Southgate. Like, I just think, listen, everyone here agrees Paul Scholes is a better player than Owen Hargreaves. Owen Hargreaves started for England. Why? Because Eriksen...
that's different. That's different.
Doesn't matter. Point is, if whether you start for your national team or not, that makes no difference to you being better as a footballer, because, number one, Southgate is a very bad benchmark, because he is not good enough, in my opinion, because this is another golden generation that England are wasting, with basically an English version of Sven-Goran Eriksson, if we're being real. Because when you look at the pool of talent that England have, I'm actually being serious. The pool of talent that England have, Jack Grealish, Saka, Foden, Trent, Reece James. You could go on and on. I could name about 15 other players.
I totally get the
debate. Jadon Sancho. Bukayo Saka started ahead of Sancho.
Guys.
Does that mean he's better?
Bruv, I get the argument. I'm pointing out that that's why there's an argument, though. And you're saying what you're saying, what people will say, but he isn't being picked. We know how good Paul Scholes is. But Paul Scholes was the guy that wasn't picked. Paul Scholes was the guy that was moved out to the left-hand side of the midfield rather than the middle. The whole world called that mad. Barring Chelsea and Liverpool fans said, no, it's right, because he ain't as good as the other two. Where there's a question mark, there's debate. And that's the only point I'm making. But again, people hear that as Terry, you're saying Trent isn't very good. Everyone knows how good I think Trent is. It's just a case of there's always going to be a debate. It's just how it is. The same as, so look at players where there's no debate. They're players that have delivered for their national team. Like Lahm as an example. There's no debate because he did it in the Champions League, he did it domestically, he did it for his international team. You suddenly can't debate that. Where there's a hole on a player's CV, there's always question marks. Wayne, even Fergie has question marks. People go, yeah, but 25 years at United, only 2 Champions Leagues, not good enough. There's a question mark on all these people. It's mad, really, but they do exist.
For me, with Trent, I think because he plays so hard on that wing for Liverpool, the reason why he's not used for England is because they have players that are more defence-minded, and there's always that question mark over him as a defender and his defensive ability compared to going forward. Because going forward, he's probably one of the best in the world. But I think it's the defensive capabilities. That's why he's overlooked. Because if, say, Klopp goes, like he deals up in a year or two and he does leave, and they play a different formation and he has to sit further back, Trent, for me, defence-wise, is the only thing that lets him down because I think he can be caught out, not just because of position-wise, but because of his defensive ability in himself, which may come when he gets older. He might get better, but I think that's the only question mark for Trent as a player, as a defender.
Of course. Go on, Ram. Go on.
I was gonna this whole England thing about him not playing. Like, if it for me as an England fan, if it works, it works. Southgate picks Walker because it works the system. Like when Spain won the Euros in 2008, Xabi Alonso wasn't playing in midfield. It was what's his name, Senna. No. It was Senna.
Oh, Marcos Senna, Villarreal.
Yeah, Marcos Senna. And people were saying, why isn't Xabi Alonso playing? And they ended up winning the Euros in the end.
And well, that's the argument with the Southgate. Like, as much as people say he's this bad manager, that. I know he didn't win, but he's been England's best manager since Sir Alf Ramsey, and that's the crazy thing about it. As much as I've questioned it, I no longer question Gareth Southgate because he's as an England fan, he's given me the best moments I may ever have in my life as an England supporter, and it isn't the best football in the world, but it is what it is. There's a comment here that says, Terry, I remember Terry said Sancho is clear of Saka at the start of the Euros. So he wasn't even a Man United player at that point. So I think on abilities, Sancho is. But again, you don't. I will reiterate what Sir Alf Ramsey used to say. You don't always pick your best players, you pick your best team. But the point is, and you just actually made me my overarching point right, my friend, so thank you, is where there's a question mark, there's a debate. So if I think the best right attacker in England or for England is Sancho, but he's not being picked, some will use that as a reason as to why Saka is better than him. But if you're a Liverpool fan, you go, yeah, 100%, I mean, Saka's better. Well, then you're also saying 100% that Walker or Reece James are better than Trent if they get picked. There is always nuance to it. But the point is, where that happens, there's debate because fans have agendas and you're never going to get away from it. The only time Trent will get universal acceptance is if he dominates for Liverpool and for England, and probably if he dominates with two different managers at Liverpool. Those are the kind of caveats. Some people, though, will push that agenda envelope into the date forever. Even when he's retired for 50 years, it's still going to get pushed. We see people now, like Phil Foden, clear of Wayne Rooney at the same age. It's like, that's just the maddest take ever. Like, you can argue Rooney at 28 probably didn't reach the level that we expected. But 18, 19, 20-year-old Wayne Rooney, there ain't a kid in England that was on his level. And he was from the era where, like, English players weren't taught to ball either. We didn't really
Callum Hudson-Odoi, Terry.
Callum Hudson-Odoi was the guy that was great. Do you know what's mad with Rooney, right? I remember, this is before socials even existed, every 2 years there was a new Rooney. I remember being told, even though one of them was a midfielder, I remember being told by Everton fans, Jack Rodwell, ability-wise, clear. What's his career over Wayne Rooney's? I remember Ross Barkley was going to... I remember there being calls on Talk Sport. People going, we have to drop Wayne Rooney. This was like when Wayne Rooney was like 25. We have to drop Wayne Rooney now. That young kid at Everton is clear of him. Oh,
that can't be true. Rooney must have been about 32. It must have been when Barkley came onto the scene.
Hang on, no. Listen, Ross Barkley is quite old now. Ross Barkley now has got to be late 20s. He's 28 years old. Rooney's my age. He's 33. There's only 5 years difference between them.
No, so I didn't think it was that close.
10 years ago, when Ross Barkley was breaking through and was looking really good, Wayne Rooney was only 22, 23. People then were saying he's got to go.
No, that can't be right.
Do you know why you don't remember it? This is what I mean. You weren't around, bruv. I was listening to the airwaves.
Wait.
I was listening to Paul. When you'd have Darren Goff sitting there on drive time pushing it. Social media didn't even exist, and you'd sit there and there was nowhere to, you couldn't tweet about it. You were sitting there like, this is making me angry now because there was no one to talk to about it. These agendas have been around. People think Twitter, I get annoyed when people go, Terry, I don't know why you debate with people with agendas on Twitter. It's pointless. These agendas have always been there. There was just nowhere to talk about them. Yeah. They've always been there. Wayne Rooney, from about the age of 23, I picked the goal. I remember the biggest goalpost move with Wayne Rooney was, I can't call him world class until he scores at a World Cup. He scored at the World Cup, and he did score in his third World Cup. However, you go back and look at the story. Should never have gone to the first one, broken metatarsal. The second one, he had that busted ankle, 2 games back-to-back against Bayern Munich. Shouldn't have played in them. Ankle. Shouldn't have gone to either of those tournaments injured. Had a stinker. Goes to the next World Cup. The pressure on him to score was mad. scored his goal, and then Twitter existed by then. All I saw on Twitter was, don't care now that he scored. Should have done it at the last two. And that's the point with agendas. The goalpost and the framing just gets changed as soon as someone... Guarantee you, the last thing on Harry Kane is he hasn't scored in a major semi-final or final. As soon as he does... Well, he did score a rebound against Denmark, to be fair, but as soon as he does it, say this season, you get to the FA Cup final and he bangs in a hat-trick, those same people will look for there'll be a new goal. They'll move the goalpost again. And that's just the way football is. Where there's a question mark, there's a debate. And people, if there ain't a question mark, they force it. Do you know what I mean? Why would you take Southgate at United? No, that isn't the point I'm making. I'm just saying, as England manager, I don't question him as much anymore because he's got it almost. He's got it right every time. Like
he could be like another Joachim Löw, because Löw as a club manager has not been that great. He's been okay, but not great. But Southgate could be another Löw. I don't know. Well, you don't think so?
Sarim here says, "Children, please. Terry talking facts. I was the one agreed the slander, and I hated United players. To be honest, I don't know what this. Do you know what it is? Sorry, Rooney,
he's agreeing with you. He's saying he's to slander the United.
Rooney is 33. I'm 36. I'm looking. So Rooney was 26 when Ross Barkley was 18. Still, the point remains. Rooney was in his pomp, and people were asking for it, and he wasn't the only one. I remember. This was one of the funniest ones. Twitter existed, so this was still 2014. So 2014 was what? How many years ago was that now?
7
years. So Wayne Rooney would have still been
22 people.
Okay, so 7-8 years. So he would have been 28, 29. And it was like, Daniel Sturridge is clear. And he's like, what do you mean clear? Clear of Wayne Rooney. He's proved it. One good year with that. Clear of him, got to go. Go back and just research this stuff. Try and find the interviews, the articles. Every 2 years, there was someone new that was ready to push him out. When you're the best player, that's what happens. So, you know, like you talk a lot about Trent being the benchmark and everyone gets compared to him. It's never going to go away. Harry Kane's been that individual. Harry Kane's had it recently. Dominic Calvert-Lewin last year started well straight away. Everyone who dislikes Kane or Tottenham, Calvert-Lewin has got to start.
Yeah.
Harry Kane is about to break the England goal scoring record in record time, right? In record time. He's on 48 goals. And he needs about 5 more goals. He's England's greatest goal scorer of all time. Calvert-Lewin, after 2 good months, got to replace him. You guys will always see this. And some of the youngsters watching, I respect you. When you are a little bit older, you're going to see this. You haven't seen it yet because this is the first time it's coming round. It's when it comes around 3 or 4 times, you're going to be like, oh my God, wow. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
For me personally, I'm consistent whether it's a Liverpool player or not. For England to win, in my opinion, best players on the football pitch. Calvert-Lewin can score 28 goals from now to the end of the season, and Harry Kane can score 3. For England to win, they need Harry Kane up top and not Calvert-Lewin. That's the matter of fact, because Harry Kane is a much more complete striker. He brings so much more to the game, blah, blah, blah. Same with the likes of Trent, same with the likes of whoever it is, Jack Grealish, blah, blah, doesn't matter. Point is, put your best players on the football pitch, figure out a system to fit them all in together. For me personally, I'd play both Reece and Trent in the Southgate system. I'd play Trent right back and Reece right centre back. Right wing back, right centre back. Because he plays with a back five. I think that could be a very good situation.
I hear that. Do you know what's funny as well? Yeah, I am doing the draw on here later on, people. So stay tuned on the terrace. I'll tell you one, Alan. You guys had Gareth Bale.
Which time is the draw? Sorry, isn't the draw tomorrow?
No, it's after today, after the Arsenal game. It's after the Arsenal game. Okay. So it used to again, traditions broke. It used to be about midday every Monday after the FA Cup round. It's gone now. It's dead. It's over. But I tell you one, this was like a thing about like where people get overgassed by players. So it wasn't an agenda, but a player that got overgassed. Tottenham sold Gareth Bale, and then another young winger came in and replaced him and started scoring.
I think I know who it is.
Nasser Chadli?
Is it Townsend?
Townsend.
Yeah. I remember this.
I used to work with a lot of Spurs fans, and it was like, I think we've already got Bale's replacement here.
It was with England.
And then he started scoring for England. And Alan's covering his face because he would have remembered Spurs fans saying, I think when he develops, he's going to reach that level. And what happens with the media and with fans is someone starts off like that. And then first of all, they're the new so-and-so at our club. Then it's who can I use this person to like to beat a rival's player over the head with. It happens every couple of years with players. And listen, I'm just as bad. Like we'll get another young inside forward come through, and I'm like, this guy's gonna take Mbappe's crown. What? And you're meant to get a bit like it. But what makes me laugh is when you get a bit older and you stop doing it. And then
who was the Man United player that scored the goal against Aston Villa to win you? And Man United fans. Oh, that's all I heard from Man United fans. Was he was the next big thing.
No,
and I was
he wasn't even the one. The best one was James Wilson. This kid was in the academy. Everyone was like,
I remember him.
On knee. And I watched him in the academy when I used to pay for him UTV, when I used to support the club, financially support the club. And I was watching him, and I for months, I'm like, why is he not getting a game? It was like it's too easy for him. Giggsy takes over. Plays Giggsy's first game, makes his debut, gets a brace. We're like, oh my days, we've got one here. I think in the next 2 years, he scored
that same year.
Goal.
That was when
don't know where he is now. Don't know what he's doing now.
That was when Januzaj came along.
By the way, we did the same thing. Me and Ram, Jordan Ibe and Raheem Sterling. He'll tell you right now.
Jordan Ibe. Exactly, we all do it, and people always get sort of put up that he's going to be better than this guy.
Jordan Ibe is better than Raheem Sterling. Next year, go to Bournemouth.
I think the draw's now. The draw's coming now. I think.
Is it now?
Who said the draws now, guys? You're confusing me.
No, it's on TV. there's a lady next to.
I want to see. Oh yeah, the draw is now. I want to see who will draw.
I love. You know what? I'm sorry, and that might offend some of your accent. I love your accent. Some of the words, the way you roll your tongue with some of the words. The draw is now. I love it.
we have a hard R. You know. Yeah. Oh, it's David James doing it as well.
Yeah, and the lovely Leah Williamson as well.
David James, is he actually going to be able to hold on to any of them balls to pick them out of the pot?
Mate, do you know what? David James, I used to love. That's the Liverpool I miss. That era where we just always won and beat. I miss that era, man. You had David James in goal. Do you know one of the players, though? The name players I used to love. There's a Liverpool player's name that I always used to like. I love saying it or hearing it. Stig Bjørneby.
Yeah.
It's such a great name. He was another player that played for Liverpool and Tottenham, whose name I love, Ronnie Rosenthal. So some names are just like, it's a great name. Bruce Grobbelaar, we all said wrong forever. I remember watching him on a documentary, and he said that his name's actually pronounced like Grobbelaar, but he said that he just told the English person Grobbelaar because no one could say it.
The draw's happening now.
Yeah, they're just. Do you know what I hate about draws though? On anything, stop chatting. Put the balls in the pot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I agree.
Get it on. Right, we're doing the draw here live, people. We're doing the draw here live.
The Champions League draw is much worse, by the way, than this because they spend the first 1 hour bullshitting and then they draw. This, at least, they're going to talk like for 2 minutes, like, hey, David James, remember when you won the thing with the point? And then they're just like, they move on. But with the Champions League draw, it's just like so much just
nonsense.
Blah, 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 the whole time.
I don't even know what the numbers for each team are because they've not put nothing up on the screen for us. So I don't like the number thing. I like us to not know the numbers and then like.
I need to go get water.
There we go. Right, here we go. I guarantee you, I'm saying it before it comes out, Man United will be away to Man City or Liverpool. First one out is number 18, which is Crystal Palace at home. It is Crystal Palace at home.
Oh, I don't want them.
And that's number 14.
No, thank you.
That's Hartlepool. They've got Hartlepool.
You guys are ahead of me as well.
Chelsea are number 5 to be honest. So number 2 have come out of the hat. Who is number 2 going to be? That's AFC Bournemouth at home. AFC Bournemouth at home. And they're going to go up against number 1, which is Boreham Wood. They've got Boreham Wood. The easy teams are coming out. Right, number 9. It is number 9, and that is Huddersfield Town. Brilliant victory for Huddersfield Town yesterday. And here we see number 27 come out, and that will be Barnsley.
Such shit pictures.
That means the big ones are coming.
Means the big ones are coming.
I don't want to play any of you, bro. Believe me.
Peterborough United are out here. I love this one. That's number 30. Number 30 is out, and that is Queen's Park Rangers, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Here we go. Next team out. The ball is number 26. That will be Cambridge United, of course. Famous victory over Newcastle United in the 3rd round yesterday. That's up against number 22. And that is Luton Town. There's going to be some big clashes, people. There's going to be some big clashes. Oh, wow. A lot of little minnows come out. Number 4, which then means Southampton, which means if there's big clashes, and minnows go through, it means the next round. Oh, and now up against number 8, that will be Coventry City. Oh, no big question come out yet.
No.
I want Arsenal.
Hey, number 5, that is Chelsea at home.
No.
Chelsea it's going to be Man United. I guarantee it. Absolutely. It's number 23, and it is Plymouth. They've got Plymouth Argyle. Chelsea, Plymouth Argyle.
They always get easy draws.
Plymouth.
I'm telling you, man, it's that money, bro. It's that
Number
Roman
15
sugar daddy
is out.
Roman money.
Everton have been drawn out at home.
Watch how we get Everton.
Up against number 19, Brentford. They're playing Brentford.
Come on, the bees. Come on, the bees.
All the big boys.
Doesn't Everton lose to Hull?
Number 11 comes out. That will be Kidderminster Harriers. You want this one away.
I'll take this. Come on, Spurs.
We know it's going to be Man City.
No, please give us that.
West Ham United have got Kidderminster. That's a 5th round certainty for the Hammers. Oh, it's good. This is number 24. That is Aston Villa or Manchester United at home.
It's going to be a big one. It's going to be Liverpool.
Leave us out, please.
And here we go. It's Middlesbrough. We're not through, but I'll take it. If we're through, Man United get Middlesbrough. Villa get Middlesbrough. Number 17, my lucky number. Tottenham Hotspur are at home.
Arsenal. Give me Arsenal.
Are at home, and they go up against number 10, which is Brighton. Brighton. For both. Decent draw. Number 6 is coming out now. Liverpool at Anfield.
It's Arsenal.
We're at home.
Anfield. And they're up against number 7, Cardiff City. Easy.
Yeah!
Easy.
That's okay. Okay, now we can relax.
Okay. Stoke City have just been drawn out. They beat Leyton Orient in the FA Cup today. Commiserations to my brother's team. They're up against number 21. That's going to be Man City, isn't it? They've got Wigan Stoke. Okay, number 32. That is Nottingham Forest or Arsenal Football Club. Whoever wins today's fixture, and they will be up against Leicester City.
Midlands derby.
City.
I want a Midlands derby.
Which means Man City have now avoided a big tie again in the FA Cup.
They always do.
Always do. Man City have been drawn out at home, and I bet they get a boring team. They've got number 16, which is Fulham. So in the end,
my Lord.
Yeah.
But do you know what's good though? I actually don't like the big teams playing each other this early because it builds up for much better 5th rounds and quarterfinals. Wolverhampton Wanderers will be at home, and the final teams to be pulled out will be Norwich City. So this is what for Arsenal, they've got Leicester. But I look at Man United tomorrow night after seeing that draw, where the enthusiasm should be for Villa and Man United. It should be win and you get Middlesbrough. And I'm not writing Middlesbrough off. There can always be shocks, but it's almost like every single one of the top 6, if they get through this round, they should all be in the 5th round. Does that make sense? Like we've all got very winnable ties. So a really good draw. And I remember a few years ago, I think we got basically to the 5th round, and none of the top teams have played each other. And you were like, wow, the 6th or the quarter are going to be absolutely epic after that. So there we go. But listen, people, I'm done. We're live again after Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. Don.
Come on, Forest.
Ram and Alan, thank you all very much for coming on. All the viewers, smash the like button before you leave. Take care. Goodbye. God bless.